Today's event is a very important event for us. We've been working now for the best part of 5 years with Professor Pashayeva, with the Moscow State University Baku branch, and what we're aiming to do is to really establish and embed the study of Azerbaijan and the Caucasus region in general in Oxford University. Oxford University is a very old university, everything takes time, but there is a real commitment and enthusiasm on our side to develop the study of this part of the world, the languages, the history, the culture. For us, I think the thing that has made this project so attractive and makes today's event so important is that we're looking at it in a broad way. We're understanding that this is a complex and a diverse region. It's a region that has a lot of internal complexity. It's also a region that has a lot of cultural and economic and social connections with other neighboring regions around it and neighboring societies. And for us to study the region, really, it only makes sense to do it in that way, understanding how connected it is with both internally and externally. Up until now, I feel we've made a good start in the 3 years that we've been collaborating on this project. We've translated some works from Russian into English that will be helpful to scholars working only in the English language. We've supported a number of students who otherwise would not have been able to carry on their studies. We've been doing some very interesting work, archaeological work in Barda, a very important city in Azerbaijan, of course. And we've also held 2 or 3 very interesting round tables. So we had a workshop 2 years ago on the East Caucasus between late antiquity and early Islam. And then last year we had a workshop on Trans-Caspian connections, again in a historical perspective. And these, I think, were very good examples of how it's possible to bring the study of Azerbaijan into a university like Oxford in a way which connects it with many other people in the university who are working on Byzantine history, Russian history, Central Asian history, archaeology of the Middle East, all of these different fields which perhaps they might not immediately think, oh, Azerbaijan is important to me, but if you demonstrate how the history and the culture of these places is connected, then suddenly, the relevance and the importance of it becomes obvious. So what we're really hoping for from today's event is that this will become the launch of fundraising that will allow what we're doing at the moment to become a permanent part of what we do, so that it won't be a 5-year project or a 10-year project, but it will become something that is fully a part of the Oxford landscape with the study of Azerbaijan integrated into the university. The name of the project that we have now is the Oxford Nizami Ganjavi program. So everything that I've been talking about really fits within that title of Nizami Ganjavi. The first book that we chose to translate was a book by a well-known Soviet scholar, Yevgeny Bertels, a great scholar of Persian and Turkish literatures, who wrote a book called The Great Azerbaijani Poet Nizami, His Life, Work and Times. So we translated that into English to make it available to English readers for the first time. It's a book which was controversial at its time. Of course, it was written in the very particular circumstances of the late 1930s, Stalin's Russia, Bagirov's Azerbaijan. And what we've tried to do with that book is demonstrate to an English-speaking readership that what Bertels was really interested in was to introduce the work of a great poet to lovers of literature who otherwise wouldn't have access to it. Nizami has become a poet who he's become a bone of contention between Iranian and Azerbaijani intellectuals for sort of ownership of his work and of his name. And what we're trying to do is to really get away from that idea that cultural heritage must belong to one place or another place, and to show that really it's a gift to all humanity, and that a poet like Nizami should be understood in that way, and really to understand what were the circumstances that allowed that kind of controversy to dominate scholarship for decades, as it has. And to say that, we can understand that in the circumstances of the 1930s, the 1940s, the 1950s, with the nation-building projects that were happening both in Iran and in Azerbaijan at that time, perhaps it was inevitable that there would be this kind of contention, but that now in the early 21st century, really we shouldn't be arguing about who owns Nizami. We should be trying to understand his works and appreciate them and work on them from a literary perspective rather than from a national politics perspective.